Today I want to talk about how holding on to resentment longer than you need to might be negatively impacting your relationships. Before we get started, I also wanted to let you know that I've added some bonus material to the Connection course. Link below if you want to check it out. Or if books are more your style rather than courses, my debut novel, The Curse in Their Veins, which came out last fall, is always a great book to cozy up with fireside during this time of year, so check that out below as well. So the structure of today's video, I'm going to show you one role play, how holding on to resentment negatively impacts your interactions. Then I'm going to show you a different way of doing things with a role play that shows what happens when you choose to let go of resentment as soon as you can. And then give you some tips for how to let go of resentment faster and caveats, such as situations where maybe you want to hold on to your resentment because there's been a really big betrayal that happened. Hey, can you come here, please?
Yeah, what's up?
It says here that you spent $3,000 on crypto last week. Is this really how you're spending our family money without consulting me?
Slow down. That wasn't me. I think we got hacked.
What do you mean we got hacked? How could you let this happen?
Calm down. Why are you blaming this all on me? This is the first I've heard of this.
You really didn't know about this?
No, I didn't. And now you're yelling at me and I'm pissed off?
Okay, I'm sorry. I guess I misinterpreted the situation.
Yeah, you definitely misinterpreted this situation. Why do you always gotta be so quick to blame me?
I said I'm sorry. What more do you want from me?
I don't know, a little respect, maybe?
Okay, so what happened in this role play is, first of all, I came in hot and accusatory. My partner responded defensively, angrily. Upon seeing that reaction, I immediately realized that I was wrong and I apologized. But that wasn't enough to repair the rupture, because in this role play, my partner held on to that resentment. He made the situation worse instead of participating in its reparation. Side note, I think we can also agree that my character in this role play didn't react well. When you apologize for something, you need to wait for the other person to forgive you on their own time, not instantly because you want to get rid of your distress. So this is not to say that my character handled the rupture well. That's just not my focus today, because we're talking about the importance of letting go of resentment, not the importance of letting people forgive you on their own time. Now, why might he have done this? There are a lot of different reasons why people tend to hold on to resentment longer than they need to. Sometimes they might just be an angry, defensive person in general, usually because they were made to feel defensive as a child. Possibly they're touchy to criticism, maybe from being overly criticized either by people in their history or even by you in this situation. Maybe this is a recurring issue that he keeps needing to forgive me for over and over and over again and never really sees any lasting, meaningful change on my end. Or it's possible this is just one little trigger, and actually he's holding on to resentment over past issues, bigger betrayals, things that maybe he can't really express in the moment, but he still feels angry about, and he's just looking for any excuse to reveal that anger. Regardless, that is not an adaptive way to respond. But here's a healthier role play that demonstrates what happens when you make a conscious decision to let go of resentment. Hey, can you come here, please?
Yeah, what's up?
It says here that you spent $3,000 on crypto last week. Is this really how you're spending our family money without consulting me?
Slow down. This wasn't me. I think we got hacked.
What do you mean we got hacked? How could you let this happen?
Please don't speak to me in this way. I didn't know anything about this. I'm not to blame for what just happened.
You're not?
No, I had no idea about this.
Okay, I'm sorry. I guess I misinterpreted the situation.
You definitely did. In the future, please don't assume the worst of me.
Okay, I won't. So, what should we do about this crypto charge?
Let me call the credit card company.
Thank you. In this roleplay, you see how, again, I came in hot, my partner pointed it out, I immediately apologized, and he immediately forgave. He let go of the resentment, and we were able to go straight into continuing a normal, healthy interaction. Resentment festers in relationships. If you let it build and build and build, eventually you're going to be so angry at the other person that you're going to start lashing out. And obviously that's never healthy. So some tips to let go of resentment. One is try to always assume the best of intentions. In this situation, that might have looked like him saying, she's feeling anxious right now. She's really stressed because she thinks that I just spent $3,000 on crypto without consulting her. And also take it a step further and ask yourself, okay, why does she think this? Oh, maybe she thinks this because I spent $5,000 gambling last month. That could certainly point to some evidence for why the other person feels why they feel that way. Rather than thinking, she's a hateful person who wants to make me feel bad. She's a hateful person who always assumes the worst. He can think, in this moment, this is what she believes. This is the evidence for that belief. She's not trying to be the worst person in the world. And you can even try mixing some empathy in there by thinking, how would I feel in her shoes? If I had the same information as her and I believed the same thing, I might be pretty angry too if I thought she spent $3,000 on crypto without consulting me. Another question that really prompts empathy is to ask yourself, when have I done what she's currently doing? Certainly, there's a time when you lost your temper in the heat of the moment and immediately apologized after you realized it. Nobody's perfect, we're all human. When it comes to small micro conflicts like this, we can't expect perfection of people. And once someone apologizes, don't try to beat them over the head with their apology and really drill it in. Firstly, because, they accepted your feedback, what more do you want of them? But also because then the next time they're forced to apologize for something, they might remember this. They might remember that you conditioned them to feel bad when they took responsibility, and they might not want to do it anymore in the future. They might be tired of always apologizing and then always apologizing a second and third and fourth time for minor mistakes that they made. So instead, take a deep breath. They've accepted your feedback. You don't have to forgive right away, but at least don't make things worse. The problem you'll often find where you start to feel resentful over people is with the people who don't take accountability, the people who don't try to immediately repair a rupture after it happens. In situations where a minor rupture happens and the other person immediately tries to repair it, that's not a reason to beat someone over the head with their apology. That's not a reason to hold resentment. You hold resentment righteously when people have done egregious things or when they've refused to apologize even long after the crime has occurred. And another tip to let go of resentment is to ask yourself, what is in the best interest of the relationship right now? It might be in your ego's best interest to punish them so hard for what they did so that they never do it again. But is it in the relationship's best interest though? No, probably repairing and moving forward even stronger than before. That would be better for the relationship. But what about big betrayals? Because some betrayals are so big that you can't just get over it immediately after a person apologizes. When it's a matter of someone stealing from you or betraying your confidence or cheating on you or something of that nature, it's not the same thing as somebody temporarily losing their temper and then immediately apologizing. Those are two very different situations, very different calibers. In the case of such big betrayals, what you actually need is probably time and space to cool down, to process through your feelings. The last thing you want to do in those moments is to bulldoze past your very real feelings. Or worse yet, to stay in the interaction and say something that you're going to regret. So regardless of whether this is a small betrayal or a big betrayal, it would probably behoove you to not express your resentment in very mean ways and to just take a moment, process your feelings if it's a really big betrayal, or try to just repair the rupture if it's a small betrayal. If this situation, whatever you're holding on to resentment for, isn't a you problem, it's actually to do with how the other person is communicating, you'll know it because responding constructively and letting go of resentment still won't solve the issue for the relationship. They probably won't apologize in the first place, or not for a very long time, because they're genuinely convinced that they're in the right and you're in the wrong. But assuming you're not dealing with that type of person, assuming you're just dealing with someone who made a small mistake or a micro conflict that requires a reparation, what you want to do is replace the cycle of something hurts your feelings, you hold on to resentment, you respond with more maladaptive communication. Instead, respond like this. Something hurts your feelings, you move on from the resentment, and you resume healthy communication. I know this is a really simple topic, but I thought it was worthwhile because I noticed these moments a lot with the way people interact and how long they hold on to resentment. And I do think a lot of the happiest relationships, whether they're romantic or not, they tend to let go of small resentments very quickly and they just resume healthy communication and they forgive the other person. Conflicts that kind of snowball and become monsters and become very chronic, maladaptive communication patterns, they're usually where one or both people are too proud to let go of resentment. Not all conflicts need to be huge and drawn out and where you need to beat the other person over the head with what they did wrong or with their apology. In these micro conflicts, repair quickly and move forward. Let me know what you thought about this and take care. Is this really how you're spending?
Slow down. Slow down.
No, you're angry in this one.
Oh, I can be... Slow down. Slow down. You definitely did. In the future, please don't... You definitely did. In the future, please don't... Yeah, you definitely did. In the future, please don't assume such things about me. The worst of me.